is a special video today, my friends, because we have got the one, the only, the John Hollis descendant himself, Urzatron, on the channel for another ESPN-style topic video for Galaxy of Heroes. What's going on, Urzatron?
My man, I am so excited to be back on the CFH network here.
CFH.
It is a good time. Yeah, my man Scotty McLaren, he was telling me all about the CFH network, him and Paul Anthony. So anyways, we're here to talk some topics here. And it's going to be a fun time.
So we already discussed 3 topics. You can see those topics over here to the left. That is on Urzatron's video. Go check out his channel to see the first half of this video. Link is down below in the description. But today we have got 3 more that we are going to address, starting with my man HK-47, who has a statement that he is ready to serve Master. What did you think when you first saw that trailer, Urzatron?
Statement. It was very impressive.
Statement. Very impressive.
Master.
Yeah. Who's the master?
That's the question, right, Cubs? Who's the master?
Is it a question? I mean, HK-47 says that exact thing to Revan in KOTOR. I've seen screenshots of it. I don't personally remember because I played the game like 50 years ago. But actually, that's not true. Like, what? 12 years ago?
12 years ago.
I would have been negative 30, 50 years ago. Or negative 20. Oh, crap. I'm almost 30. Anyway, so this is significant, but I want to focus the discussion here on what's going on with HK-47 in particular, because I think we've beat Darth Revan to a pulp.
Yes.
It looks like HK-47 is bound to get a rework.
Yep, we saw the stance. Everybody saw the stance change back in fall of last year.
A nice tease, yeah.
So I will say he was one of my first characters I ever farmed up. Him and IG-88 and a droid team a long time ago. I love that droid meta, and
I hated that. I wonder,
didn't Crumb come out and say that do not expect him to be lights out crazy good?
You know, if he said that, I missed it, but I wouldn't be surprised to see statements like that after what happened with Grievous.
Right. I think they're being very cautious.
Temper your expectations. Temper your expectations.
And it's fine. I just wonder, my hope is that they give his leader ability a little bit of shine, a little bit of love, and maybe it's just not some sort of synergy with Revan or whoever the hell he's going to be paired with. Maybe it's something to do with the droid leadership ability.
Right.
I feel like... You know, I feel we got Grievous, and that was a rework for Separatist droids. And there's not really a super strong droid leader outside of like Lobot and HK, so I don't know.
So you're hoping that we're going to get a more general droid leadership ability with HK-47, not just the Revan synergy.
Yes, that's my hope.
And I did see, I saw a comment somewhere that a lot of people seem to agree with on Reddit, that they didn't want HK-47 to get the BB-8 treatment, right? Where he's basically always going to be with Rey. And I can kind of get behind that, but I mean, HK and Revan were a really dynamic duo in KOTOR, and so I don't think that there's anything wrong with them having some pretty strong synergy. But I can get behind, there's nothing wrong either with having a more general droid leadership ability. And so I do hope that the rework does both. And I don't think that's too crazy to ask, especially because droids aren't going to be meta, right? And so maybe giving the droids a leadership ability that makes them very logical to use in territory wars or territory battles would be enough. And then, you know, maybe HK-47 is going to work with Darth Revan, assuming he's coming pretty well as well. But then again, the flip side of that is if he's going to have that strong of synergy with Darth Revan, you're probably not going to want to use him with droids anyway, right?
Right. And that's the whole thing here, right? You got this whole droid Discord server, the people that are droid fans, and I'm part of that server, and I feel their pain. They're just waiting for that just totally nuts droid leader to come and just bring it back. And
hey, there was a droid meta once upon a time. It happened, and it was frustrating as heck to go against if you weren't part of it. I did not have the droids, and I was so frustrated all the time with those things. I
remember having to do the dance around Royal Guard every time, 86 and 88. And
ID8 would light you up, man. Or IG-88. Oh, man.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
All right, moving on a little bit, we have got to discuss Grand Arena defense. And Ursatron and I were talking about this a little bit before we started this video. There's a couple new teams, or maybe not new, but just sleeper teams that have kind of raised our eyebrows recently as a Grand Arena defensive team that you will want to check out. And Ursatron, why don't you go first? Tell us about, it's you know what's interesting is we both have bounty hunter teams to discuss. So tell us about your bounty hunter team, and I'll tell you about mine.
And that is the point here, Cubs, is there are so many interesting leaderships with bounty hunters. I mean, I just love it, man. Yeah. I just love the variety. I mean, you could put some weird stuff out there, and people just don't know what to do with it.
Hold the phone a little bit, because I want to highlight this, because when the bounty hunters got their rework, it was almost similar to Grievous, was it not? Where you know, there's a lot of disappointment. A lot of people wanted the bounty hunters to be meta, but I just want to point out, how long ago was that rework, and how relevant do the bounty hunters still feel to this game today? And I mean, everybody wants to have a good bounty hunter team for Grand Arena and for Territory Wars, and so I think that's pretty interesting to note.
And I will say, to just bolt onto that, the classic bounty hunter team, the Bosk-led team, that is a force, man. You cannot take that stuff lightly.
No.
A well-modded Bosk team, like you gotta bring a good squad against that. So they've gotten just so good over time.
Sure.
But what the one I wanted to call out here, I think it's a sleeper pick, is a Zam lead. And I love Zam. I've been running her on defense. I previously been running her on offense, and she's super fun with just how you play her.
Right.
But I think a lot of people do not have their Zam all the way up, and she's super fast. If you can put a nice speed set on her, she's just constantly unloading and gaining turn meter from proccing all those bombs, proccing all those thermals.
Dude, it's thermal hell, man. It's when you go against Zam lead.
The last few times I've ran her, she's had 2 to 3 defensive holds each time. And I think people just look at it and say, oh, it's Zam.
Oh, it's just Zam.
You know, it's just Zam.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, she gets going, and then if they don't pull a ripcord and get out, she's got turn meter at that point, and she just keeps going. So huge fan of this team, so much so that I ended up taking her to G12 this week.
Wow.
And You're a believer. I am considering the Zeta Cubs. It's very interesting, the Zeta here. She gains a bunch of bonus stats based on different types of scoundrels, not just bounty hunters, scoundrels.
Oh, interesting.
So you can run her with scoundrel comps. Scoundrel tanks gives her a ton of bonus protection, stuff like that. So I'm really considering it. I'm considering bringing up some scoundrel tanks like Zalbar, like Vanchu. It could be very interesting stuff that people would not know how to deal with.
Interesting. Yeah, and that Zeta is going to add plus 10% offense, plus 10% max protection, and plus 10% max health. Interesting. Yeah, so Zam, I too have fallen victim to Zam before in Grand Arena, but recently my eye-opener team, and it's funny because I had a similar response to you. I went and geared this character right away. Well, I actually already had them pretty well geared, but I went and put some more gear on them and dropped a Zeta on my man Django Fett. Yes. And Django, I have been looking at for the longest time as a great character to have in the bounty hunter team under a Bosk lead. And I think a lot of people probably still view Django that way. But recently, especially after some Territory Wars matchups, it's become very clear to me that Django Fett, in my opinion, is a much better leader for that bounty hunter team. Much more difficult to go against on defense. And the reason why is what makes Bosk so hard to beat is when he gets that taunt up, and especially if he's got that second Zeta, it's going to be harder to dispel that taunt. And if you add 30 speed to Bosk, if he's already fast, you add 30 speed to him, it becomes that much harder to outspeed your opponent's Bosk. He gets his taunt up a lot earlier, and that contract fulfills so fast for Django on defense, and all of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom, you have got all of the bounty hunters with bounty hunters resolve on them, and that is miserable.
That's a nightmare. Yeah, so I had the misfortune of underrating a Django-led team. The guy had Bosk. I'm like, look at this. He's not even running Bosk at lead. This guy clearly doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
I ran a team in there and just got blitzed in the next week. It was no contest.
It's tough.
And my whole stream was like, dude, you just underrated Django. I can't believe you did this.
How could you do this? I don't know how I was doing it for so long, but there it is.
And you know, I had drinks with Warrior when he was in Denver, and he was telling me
you had drinks?
Right?
I'm so shocked.
Me and Warrior had a drink, and he was telling me he uses his Django and Boba to go right after Talzin-led teams, so Night Sister teams, just right around Zombie, and he just blitzes them. And I think he was saying he can even go just the two and power down whoever he needs, and you get the bonus unused slots there. So. That's another great use for Django.
He was saying that on Twitter today too, and I think that's awesome. My initial thinking right when I saw that was that's amazing, but I don't know if I can part with putting him on defense because it's so. I mean, I put him on defense for Grand Arena this last time. He held 3 times, and so I'm pretty married to putting him on defense.
I will say, Boba has gotten. I would say he's gotten better over time.
Isn't it interesting? One of the more long-term viable characters, is he not?
Yeah, he just he gets execute off, and that can just throw the match quickly. So I'm kind of scared of Boba these days, to be quite honest. Yeah, so. All
right, and let's round it out with our final topic. We are talking about the state of the Game Changers program. And some of you have noticed with the Ebon Hawk that the Game Changers did not get early information for the Ebon Hawk. And so I've been getting questions about this, and Urzatron and I were talking about this beforehand. We're both Game Changers, thought it might be good to just spearhead this a little bit. Urzatron, do you think it's a big deal that we didn't get information about the Ebon Hawk?
So I will say I thought it was a big deal when we lost the test accounts because, I mean, my channel was very much built on making teams and recording content with the test accounts.
Sure.
I felt like that was a big deal.
Okay.
But I will tell you, in hindsight, Cubs, that is the best thing that has happened to my channel because it just forced me to focus on my main account.
Yes.
And I found things like streaming Grand Arena. So am I worried about the lack of information coming to the Game Changers or just maybe the change of the direction of the program? Not at all. I mean, I feel like I'd rather just have a good relationship with CG.
Yeah.
And, I'm a huge fan of their game and their products. So if that makes me a shill, I guess I'm a shill. I love Star Wars and I love this game that it follows me around in my pocket.
I did learn recently.
I'm happy either way.
I did learn recently that if you like Grand Arena, you're part of some elaborate conspiracy. That's what I was told in the comments.
Conspiracy of fun.
It's a conspiracy. I'm a shill for liking Grand Arena because how could anybody possibly like this? I don't know. Maybe it's fun.
What do you think? What do you think?
I'm 100% with you, and I felt the same way about the test accounts at first. I was kind of chapped when we lost those, and we've got some test accounts now. They're a little bit different. It's kind of hard to explain. They're not as usable as they once were. But I feel like losing that thing was very valuable for me too. It definitely forced me to really dig into my own account a lot more, not rely on a test account, and to also reach out to the community and see what is the community doing instead of just relying on myself to theorycraft because frankly, I'm not the master theory crafter of the world. A lot of you guys are. And so having footage sent to me from you guys and looking at that going, wow, that works. Let's look at the mods, show those. It's actually been really good for my channel to have that as well. And ultimately, our channels, it's nice to have early information. Don't get me wrong. I like having that. We can make videos on it, but there's really not a huge difference between making a video before the information is released to the public and after.
Yeah, I guess the only difference would be you could plan your day a little bit better. We both work and have wives and families and kids, so
yeah, a little bit of planning. Really. Yeah, and you know what? Maybe you can cover the subject. Anyway, at the end of the day, what's important to me is covering this game and being genuine about the game and covering it in a way that helps improve the game. And so for me, I want to have a relationship with Capital Games. I want to be able to give them feedback on their game. And I don't think that's ever going to go anywhere, whether we have a program or whether we don't have a program.
Agree. And I think there's a little bit of a stress relief for me to not have to... I'm sure you get that guy in your comments who's like, what do the mods look like, and how do I know you're telling the truth, and why did you use this move first, and like it's kind of a relief to just not have to deal with that guy anymore. To be totally honest,
you know that guy's gonna be there still, just in a different way, though, right?
Yeah. We're going to see that guy pop up when we post this video.
That guy's going to be in this video, okay? Well, we just encouraged him.
Yes,
so,
we did.
Anyway, long story short, don't worry about the program. Maybe we don't get early information. Maybe we do. It doesn't really matter. I think there's still going to be open communication with Capital Games. You know, I don't see why that's going to change. And we'll just keep on covering this game. And I think that, like Urza said, losing the test accounts was, at the end of the day, probably good for a lot of us.
Yeah. Forces you to learn something new, and that's always good.
Absolutely. All right, Urzatron, it is an honor to have you on the channel. Thank you for coming on here. Again, if you guys did not see the first part of this video, go to Urzatron's channel. Link is down below in the description. Go check that out. And definitely be sure to check out Urzatron's Grand Arena streams. That is, of course, if he's not streaming at the same time as me. Then you need to pull up just me. No, both of us on dual monitors. How about that at the same time?
There you go. One on the phone, one on the computer.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, Urzatron, any parting thoughts for the lovely ladies and gentlemen out there before we end the video?
No, good luck. May the RNG be with you. Good luck at Grand Arena tomorrow. I don't know what to say.
We should make a shirt. May the RNG be with you. That'd be a good shirt.
All right. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
All right. Thanks again for joining us, my friends. And as always, my brothers, don't forget,